All right, now on to Rudy. But with Rudy, I don't know if I want him to stay or if I want him to go because he's such a clown.
Oh, he's super entertaining. I think I want him to stay because he's relatively harmless to us, but very harmful to Donald Trump. And that became clear when Fox News kind of didn't give him favorable coverage and he got bitter about it and even went so far as to threaten to sue Fox. Isn't it hilarious when Republicans think Fox isn't fair enough? Let's watch. The predictable rift between Donald Trump and his personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, continues to grow. And this time it involves a Fox News host by the name of Steve Hilton, which means that today it's another episode of As the White House Turns.
Made some very big mistakes. I asked for his resignation.
I'm disappointed in the Attorney General.
We all know that Trump is itching to throw his personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, under the bus in order to distract from the fact that Donald Trump also did questionable things when it came to Ukraine. That's why he's facing this impeachment investigation. Now, Steve Hilton, who is a host on Fox News, had some advice for Donald Trump to maybe speed up this process. Take a look.
We learn more disturbing details about Rudy's role. It turns out that the former mayor's own personal business interests are wrapped up in all this. To put it simply, he's been trying to enrich himself on the back of his relationship with President Trump. And you know what? I'm just fed up with the lot of them. Rudy Giuliani was a great mayor and a great leader, but he's turned into an unmitigated and now it seems unethical disaster. While President Trump has been trying to govern for the American people, all these hangers-on have been trying to make money for themselves off Trump. They're a bunch of chancers, grifters, and spivs, taking advantage of the president to do dodgy deals in the world's shadiest places. Before they completely derail this presidency and its substantive historic policy results on China, the economy, and much more, it's time to dump these toxic chumps.
So before we get to Rudy Giuliani's response to this, let's talk a little bit about what Rudy Giuliani is accused of, what Trump is accused of, and how all of this mess is really intertwined, right? Yep. Because the fact of the matter is, Rudy Giuliani was working with some shady people in Ukraine. Those people were probably working with Rudy Giuliani because of his close relationship to Donald Trump, but Donald Trump had his own objectives, he had his own agenda, he had his own wants, which were very clear in the memo that we saw, the phone call between Trump and Vladimir Zelensky, the president of Ukraine. Trump wanted political dirt on his political rival, Joe Biden. And he said repeatedly in that conversation that Zelensky should speak to Rudy Giuliani and William Barr, his attorney general. Okay, but Rudy Giuliani also had his own business dealings going on. And so Steve Hilton isn't necessarily wrong there, but he's on purpose, in my opinion, leaving out the lack of legality with what Trump was doing and trying to dig up dirt on his political rival.
Yeah, he's half right and half comically wrong. So Steve Hilton is an interesting character. I interviewed him here at the Young Turks. You should check out that interview because he's not a normal conservative. He is an independent thinker and sometimes will agree with the populist left. So I find him to be an interesting character and one that is oftentimes intellectually honest, but not in this case. So the part that he's right about is, as Anna pointed out, Giuliani did have side deals. Steve Hilton is right to point that out. He's right to say dump him, except that Giuliani says, I've got insurance. Then later went and said, oh no, Donald Trump, I was just kidding about my insurance, wink, 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 right? So that gets to the part that Steve Hilton is obviously wrong about, and I'd be surprised if he didn't know he was wrong. So just because Giuliani has a side deals doesn't mean that what he was doing with Trump wasn't also unethical, and you know that. And so he makes it seem like, oh my God, Donald Trump has been doing these wonderful policy initiatives, and he's been doing yeoman's work and the people's work. He's working so hard, getting such good results. Oh, poor Giuliani betrayed it. I mean, poor Trump got betrayed by Giuliani. He's such a good, well-meaning soul that he didn't know that Giuliani was doing this side business. Oh, please, you don't believe that. Nobody believes that. So you lose all credibility when you say comical things like that. Trump's policies have been a total disaster, nor does he care about any of those policies. He cares about being a grifter. And the reason he picked Giuliani is because peas in a pod.
Exactly.
The same reason he picked Michael Cohen, the same reason he picks every criminal in his administration. It's not the bug, it's the feature that they are fellow criminals.
So the Ukrainian business partners that Giuliani was working with, Lev Parnas and Uygur Fruman, were pushing Giuliani to get Donald Trump to fire Fiona Hill, right? No, I'm sorry, not Fiona Hill, Marie Yovanovitch, because Marie Yovanovitch was the ambassador to Ukraine who was actually holding corrupt people accountable. And Lev Parnas, Uygur Fruman, according to what Parnas has said, wanted to get rid of Marie Yovanovitch, right? So they were using Rudy Giuliani's help and his relationship to Donald Trump in order to accomplish that, and they did accomplish that. So that's part of the issue here. Now let's get to Giuliani's response to Hilton because it's hilarious. Of course, it's on Twitter, and he says, "I have not taken a penny for representing my friend President Trump. I'm outraged that Steve Hilton reported that I was trying to pursue private business deals in Ukraine to enrich myself, when in reality I've made zero in Ukraine. Very lazy reporting."
Hold on, I gotta clarify. Yes, like Trump, he was too stupid to consummate the deal. So they had papers that Rudy Giuliani signed to do these deals, but he couldn't finish it and get paid. So now, like Trump, he turns around and goes, well, look, I went in with a gun to a bank and asked for the money, but it turns out they didn't have the money, so I'm not guilty. Yeah, that's not how the law works. That's still bank robbery. And so he's like, I went to go make the side deal. I signed the paper saying, hey, I'd love the money, but God damn it, I didn't get the money. Well, that doesn't make you not guilty. And Giuliani is a former prosecutor. That's how he came up in the first place. He knows that.
Yep. He continues to write in this Twitter thread, since representing Trump, I have considered and turned down all deals in Ukraine.
You didn't turn it down.
Even those not presenting a conflict. Lawyers tell me Steve Hilton is a wild card and I should sue him for libel. He recklessly disregarded the truth. Okay, so one thing that I just want to remind everyone about is that Giuliani can't keep his facts straight, he can't keep his story straight. In fact, he admitted during a recent interview with Glenn Beck that he's still communicating with the Ukrainians. Take a look.
There are several prosecutors sitting in Kiev right now that want to come to the US to testify to that. And they are not being given visas by our State Department.
Pompeo is the head of the State Department. President Trump is the president. All I can
tell you is that for 3 or 4 years, that embassy has deliberately interfered with the ability to develop this story.
I know that. You give me their names and I will go and bring the story. I
will give you their names.
Okay,
Absolutely.
great. We will go to Ukraine and get that.
2 of them today.
In contact with 2 of them today.
Oops.
These are the corrupt prosecutors, by the way. Yeah. It's amazing.
So look, it was a nice meeting of the minds because Rudy thought, I'll do a side deal with the people in Ukraine who are corrupt, who want to get rid of the American ambassador because she's fighting against corruption. And then he goes and tells Trump, she's fighting against corruption. You want to do corruption in Ukraine. He's like, oh great, let's fire her. Right, so they're both like, hey, we'd like to fire her because she's fighting corruption. And so maybe for different reasons, but they both wanted to do it. And then of course Trump turns around and goes, yeah, I fired her because I wanted to fight corruption. Oh, come on, no. But my last question is, why is Glenn Beck's studio buried underneath the sea? Okay, can we bring it back up again? Because it looks like behind him, he's doing the show from underneath the ocean floor. And you see it? Like,
oh my God, that is hilarious.
A secret bunker buried deep beneath the sea. But they discovered something they shouldn't have discovered. A new movie coming out soon. Maybe it was the thing that wrote the beautiful mind drawings on the chalkboard next to him. Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.